Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today here at the Poirier Collection outside of Montreal in Quebec in Canada. Just feast your eyes around this extraordinary private man cave. The owner, Luc Poirier, has kindly invited me to have the opportunity to share this magnificent collection with you, from the Hyper 5, the Ferrari hypercars, to the V8 lineage, the V12s, some lovely Porsches and plenty more to go and explore. But what a man cave location. From everything around the walls, you will spot the Grand Prix track outlines, to everything that you can see over that side as well, the simulators for both the F1 car, the golf simulator room, the lounge area, the gym. This is literally the dream room. So let's go and explore and take a look around here at the Poirier Collection. In case you're wondering why I am wearing sunglasses indoors, it is because I am blinded by the epicness of the Poirier Collection. No, in all seriousness, I have a little problem with one of my eyes at the moment, so bear with me on that. But we're going to explore around everything from the collection of motorcycles up here, and even a little two-seater Ferrari go-kart inspired by the FXX, to the items on display, to the wall decorations. As you can see, the outlines of the circuits from the Formula One calendar, I believe from 2020, where of course we have Canada, the race taking place here in Montreal, to all of the cars. There are so many cars to discover here, with cool stories, unique specs and things to point out as we go around, plus the whole setup back over there. And that's what I find so inspirational. This is the dream man cave. This is what I would love the museum to be like down the line, to house everything that you find in here. We're going to take a better look at that. Even an indoor washing area just there, which, considering the weather conditions in Montreal, I suspect is rather necessary in winter. And around the corner, we'll have a look as well at the James Bond edition Defender, and tucked back there, the Unimog just in the corner. So we'll head there very shortly. But what a place. It is a huge thanks to Luc Poirier for the opportunity to have a look here. I don't really know where to begin. We'll come to these in just a moment, perhaps right here to start us, the F2004 Ferrari Formula One car from 2004, the show car that we have just there. Oh, and come and have a look at this. Tucked in right behind it, Ferrari parking only. All others will be towed. Very, very suitable when you see most of the cars that are here in the collection. A clear direction towards the cars from Maranello. So right beside me, let's begin here. We've got the Big Five, the Ferrari 5, the Hyper 5 as they've become known, the Ferrari hypercars, starting with the LaFerrari Aperta. Now, when the LaFerrari originally launched back in 2013, I remember filming the unveiling at the Geneva Motor Show. I was never originally the biggest fan of it. There were 499 or 500 coupes, but I've grown so much to them over the years. And the Aperta is the targa top. You have the removable panel that you can take off the car, only 208 in total, that glorious 6.3 litre naturally aspirated V12 with the electric motors, one of the greatest cars to drive and a true icon, one that each time I've been lucky to drive one has just taken my breath away, just been absolutely out of this world. Next, we have the Enzo. The car quite literally wearing Enzo Ferrari's name, one of 399 or 400 cars in total, 6 litre naturally aspirated V12, the automated manual gearbox. This is a car that I think is rising hugely in popularity at the moment, although it's perhaps not my most desirable of the Ferrari Hyper 5, which would in fact go to this, the F50, which was my first ever poster car, as you probably know from the channel, 349 of them in total, F1 engine, V12 naturally aspirated again, combined with a gated manual, the removable roof. It's perfection. I really love the Ferrari F50, even though most people choose to go for the F40. The Ferrari F40 is of course the most iconic, I think, of all of the cars, that wedge shape, the squared off rear wing, the twin turboed V8, over 1,100 of them produced in total, but still very, very special. And the 288 GTO, 273 cars, the first really of these Ferrari supercars, hypercars, however you want to call them, originally intended for Group B racing, went on to be the production car that is now even more sought after than ever. But what I quite like after the Hyper 5 is that the next run of cars you see behind me takes us all the way through the Ferrari mid-engined story, effectively, the V8s. We have the 488 Pista Spider, the convertible version of the 488 Pista, which was the hardcore version of the 488 GTB, with the S-duct up front, over 700 horsepower, twin turbo V8, very track focused, of course, as per the Speciale, the 458 Speciale, which I think will go down forever in time as one of the greatest cars that Ferrari have made. There are over 4,000 of them, I believe, in total. 4.5 litre naturally aspirated V8, the track version of the 458 Italia. Unsurprisingly, there's a bit of a theme here. But after the Speciale, we come on to the 16M, which I drove for the first time last year. The 16M was the Scuderia Spider, effectively, the convertible version of the Scuderia, 499 cars. Basically, again, the limited edition 16M, actually celebrating the 16 Formula One World Championship titles that Ferrari had just won when that was introduced. Challenge Stradale, the hardcore again version with the F1 gearbox of the 360 Modena, the previous era, slightly before I was madly into the Ferrari world of things. This is rarer than you think. You might be thinking just Ferrari F355. This is an F355 Spider Fiorano. There are only 100 of them in total. Came with a few upgrades like an Alcantara steering wheel and slightly more focused, but effectively the originator of this lineage, of this story. To whistle past the next little run, we have the 348, we have the 328 and the 308, which are normally quite hard to tell apart, small differences between them. We have a 250 GTO, looks the part, looks cool. And then we have this. This needs a bit of an explanation. I've actually seen this before. It was added to the collection after winning it at an auction. It's an Enzo. You see? It's an Enzo. It's definitely an Enzo. It was actually at, I think, the Quail. It was at the Quail a couple of years ago because it was entered as an Enzo, and somebody flicking through, I guess, saw a very quick glimpse at the picture and decided to go for it and accept it and have it on the lawn. So that was where I saw it for the first time, and we were all a little bit confused, but anyway, it's now here, which I think is kind of fun. We then have two other quite small, unusual cars, the BMW Isetta and the Fiat 500, two lovely, quirky little things. Another unusual choice, the Beetle, just here as well, before we're going to get to everything behind in a moment. Fun story behind the 944 Turbo, and this is like me having my original Vantage Roadster in my collection, bringing back the history of where this collection in many ways began with that particular car. We've got a pair of amphicars from the 60s, and if I'm not mistaken, those are basically cars to drive in water or something like that. This is super rare and perhaps the first time I've ever seen one. C8 Corvette Stingray, obviously, but this is the C8R edition, which is the limited motorsport inspired edition, kind of in many ways mimicking that of the racing cars that obviously Corvette run in the GTE and various different championships. Car very close to my heart, the AMG GT Black Series in diamond white. That's the colour I had on my GTR Pro and considered for the GT Black Series. And my word, it looks brilliant. Looks absolutely fantastic with all of the contrasting carbon fibre. I think we now know that there are about 1,700 GT Black Series in total. And when you think there are only 350 SLS Black Series that came before, it's a lot of them. It's amazing to see how much demand there is, but it's a really fast car, so unsurprising. This is an Ultimate. This is a Lamborghini Aventador Ultimate, one of the 350 coupes, the final ultimate last, Ultimate literally means last in Latin, version of the Aventador, before we have the replacement, the successor, to come down the line. So that's kind of fun. 992 GT3. I've still never been behind the wheel of one of these. After owning the previous 991.2 GT3, I've not driven one of those. That's Shark Blue. This is a cool colour. This is a 992 Turbo S Cabriolet in Ruby Style Ruby Stone Red, which is a colour from the 964 RS. If you rewind back in time, it's a colour that has often been controversial, but it's super cool. I really, really quite like that, and I would love a Porsche in that colour at some point down the line. We have a Targa as well. We have a 992 Targa, so a little trio of 992s. Before we have some of the Ferrari V12s. We have the Testarossa, followed by the 599 GTO, and this is actually in Rosso F1 2007, although given we are here in Quebec, it should probably 2007. But the special multi-layer red, slightly more orange paintwork than, well, 599 of those, one of 799 in the form of the F12 TDF based on the F12 Berlinetta. What an amazing run of cars on display on that side, but come with me over this way. Let's pop round the corner just first. And by the way, one thing I really like is how we've got all of the office space here as well, the offices that just overlook the whole of this garage. Obviously a little bit more private, but super, super, super special. First up, Defender 110 James Bond edition, like in the movie, the satin black, a couple of details around it that stand out. Can't believe how in demand these are. Super, super, super limited. Can't remember exactly how many they made, but not a lot of them. And the Unimog. This is from many hours north of here. This is actually road legal, believe it or not. It's sitting on some gigantic tyres. I've been Told that it's not perhaps the best car to go out and drive, but it looks like a monster. And the fact that it's still sitting here in the corner, dirtied, looking rugged, imagine if you saw that coming down the road. That would really be a little bit terrifying. The last thing to very quickly show you here is the display that we have with some of the model cars, magazines, collectible things, and this. This is the box that the F50 comes with all of its extra things, including the roof, which is quite cool to have that. Right, let's head back over to this way. It's such a simple thing with a collection, but having the ability to wash cars indoors, especially if the weather outside is foul, cold, snowing, whatever it might be. Remember, a few months of the year, there's snow on the ground outside here, is a massive thing. I would love to have been able to do this back at home, but it's not so easy. Logistically, cost-wise, very complicated, but that's an epic setup. I'm immensely jealous of this area. Also, I suppose we should mention the fact that there's a TRX right there in bright orange. You don't see many TRXs in bright orange. They tend to be silver or the blue, the launch colour. But in orange, obviously with the 700 plus horsepower engine up front, just crazy, just so America, right? So North America, even though we're in Canada right now, but next to it, we have the bright green Urus. Very, very bright, very out there. Drove the Urus recently on a run. I quite like it. I like the bravery with colours. I like the colours that you see around here, and I suppose we should actually spin and just have a quick look at some of the plates very quickly. Have a look here on the GTO, literally GTO. On the F12, F12. The LaFerrari Aperta has Aperta. The Enzo has Enzo. F50, F40, 288 GTO. These kind of things are really cool. Have a look at what's on this as well. On the back of the pink 911, what do you think it might be? 911 pink, perfectly suited. And then, yeah, just all of the cars. I like that a lot. Then over this way, whole gym area, less my thing, I'm not gonna lie. F1 car of a more modern iteration with the screen simulator, but I love the graphic behind. And that's something we're thinking for the Halo space back at the Museum, the way all of that's done. Then next to it, have a little look at this Mini. This is a Mini with an even shorter wheelbase that's open, that's actually road legal. That can be driven on the road. 75 or so horsepower, can't weigh an awful lot. Open, no doors, probably a little bit terrifying, but a really cool thing. And I like that, even though it might not be on the UK plate, it does have a UK plate up front at the moment. But then back here, and this is, you know, collections are all different. Every collection tells a story behind the owner and where it really began for them. And, you know, for Luc, this collection is heavily Ferrari biased, because his first thing when he was younger and starting out in the world was to put down a deposit for a Ferrari before he was in a position to purchase one, saying that in a few years' time he was going to come in and make it happen, to dream, to work hard to achieve that goal. It happened, and now you have this amazing place. But to have the chill-out sofas and seating areas, the billiards, the air hockey, the hockey jerseys up on display as well, the machines and arcades and simulators and pinball machines, the large TV screen, the full-size golfing simulator here as well. This is all like the dream. This is such an amazing place for me to take in things from as well. And yeah, I think it's just truly fantastic, truly breathtaking. I mean, the cars have even more things to them than we've mentioned. You know, up to this point, it's impossible to pick out every single detail, but you'll see, for example, the Pista Spider has a few Novitec parts on it, so the Novitec wheels and setup, a little bit different to standard, but there's some moving and shaking in the collection to always have the best of the best, to introduce new cars that complete the lineups. There's a 575 SuperAmerica inbound. There are a few other things that I'm not going to share with you yet that will be part of it all as well. And even the colours, you know, not all of the Ferraris are Rosso Corsa. You can see here, I guess that's Rosso Scuderia. Perhaps it's, maybe, I don't know exactly without looking in full detail, but this is really awesome. This is a very special place, one of, if not the best collection here in Montreal. And I mean, just look back that way, where actually you could also spot the BAC Mono. The BAC Mono is actually the last one, full carbon body, the last one that they made. So that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, this is the dream. This is really, really amazing and very special to have been able to share with you today. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to those involved here at the collection for making it possible to come down and take a look today. This has been amazing. I tell you something quite funny while we're still here. In Europe, the Lamborghini Urus is normally considered to be quite a big car. It's a large SUV. It's about as big as you would want to drive in London. Then when you park it next to the TRX, this thing is gigantic. It is so much taller, wider, longer. If you drove one of these or an F-150 Raptor or something of that nature in London, for example, and you tried to park something like this, you're going to have a problem with that. It is a massive thing, a very heavy thing, and a very powerful thing, and a very ridiculous thing. And that's half of the fun, right? When you have the two of them side by side. The TRX makes that Urus just look absolutely minuscule, like completely minuscule. Even the Defender. But then when you have the Defender with the Unimog behind it, the Defender also looks tiny. But a Defender is like a huge car. The Defender is like a big old thing. But the TRX and the Unimog just make it shrink a little bit in comparison. But hey, that's where we are, out here, bad weather. You want to drive some of these things. I'd love to drive that around a city centre. That would be crazy. I've been out in a Unimog once before on some off-roading terrain at Mercedes Test Centre, but that's just hilarious. I mean, this whole place, look, just take all of this in. What a dream. What an amazing place to come to visit. I could sit here all day. We could talk for hours about every single car, but you know what? I might just take a little walk around off camera, take it all in a little bit more, because this has been awesome. A big thanks again to Luc. This is really special, the Poirier Collection here in Montreal. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.